Hello, everybody. Eric from Made Awesome here. I know a little bit late on this, but me and Pops over here, we just watched Oppenheimer in the 70mm version here in Sacramento. It was just want to give my thoughts real quick on the film, and there's a lot of hullabaloo about the film, so just give you my thoughts about it real quick as we're going home after watching the film. So just for context, I know a lot about kind of the but near the end of the Second World War, after teaching a course on it at University of Buffalo. I didn't teach the course, but I helped. I was like a half teacher, half running a lab or something similar to that. Nonetheless, I come in with a bit more knowledge of the general audience, so that's kind of the perspective I'm coming from. Just to get it out there, since most of you guys would want to know, I would say if you do not know the story of how Oppenheimer builds the bomb, or know about kind of World War II or whatever, and as people in here are going crazy, I would say that if you're that type of person, I would say it is an 8 out of 10. If you are someone who does not know anything about the story and coming in here fresh, I would say definitely a 10 out of 10 film. I must preface that we didn't miss the first 30 minutes of the film, but I think based on how the story is done, with its being back and forth, jumping in from different times, different perspectives, I don't think you really miss much, and I think it's just him in his early years at Cambridge. I would say that the film is definitely more centered on Oppenheimer the person, not really the historical nature of how and why the bomb was built. You do get those differences from watching the film, but it's mainly about Oppenheimer and his psychology dealing with the building of the nuclear bomb and stuff like that. So the 8 out of 10 thing, I would say that I think just in general, you don't need to see this in an IMAX film. You're going to get the same kind of story no matter what. I think it is a great film. I think it does touch on a lot of the things historically what happens. And I think also Oppenheimer the person is not something that's really talked about a lot. And I think that's something that really comes out in the film. I definitely did enjoy it. It definitely does make you feel like tense about the situation, about like the psychological nature of building a bomb with all those questionable outlooks and stuff like that. That definitely does come through the film. And I would secondly say that the nuclear bomb is not the central story. Like, that's kind of the big thing it builds up to. But it's really more about the drama about the months and weeks leading up to that construction. And the third thing I would say is that a lot of the film's also kind of built upon how Oppenheimer is to be remembered. And they tell that story mainly through the they weren't criminal hearings, but more like government hearings about him getting his license revoked, and Strauss, who was like the general atomic energy secretary, I think, or on the commission, which has dealt with the bomb and stuff like that. Really about kind of that aspect of it. And the last thing I would say on it is that I think there was this idea that there was a lot of emotional aspects of coming up from the film. I did see some people who were kind of like, what's the word? Who were very, like, not traumatized, but they're like, they feel like sympathetic to what was going on, and kind of like had feelings after watching the film, because it does make you feel like, this is the making of the nuclear bomb was something that was very important and could be very deadly to the world and stuff like that. A lot of consequences, I guess you can say. I would say that I think nowadays, you would not get a lot of reaction from a lot of people, because I think of the world we live in. I was just telling Pops over here that he did this film like in the 70s, 80s, and 60s during the height of Cold War. This would have been a much more impactful film, I would say, than today. Not to say that those fears exist, but the fears were a lot more. They could happen a lot more impactful if it occurred back during the Cold War era and not to today, because we live in a very different world. Nonetheless, I would still go see it. You'd still learn a lot, and yeah, that's kind of my reaction thoughts. I might do a longer video on it later, but for now, that's kind of what I thought. So yeah, hope you guys check out we got some new content coming out. Just wanted to get on here, do a quick little reaction, and I'll talk to you guys later.